Yeah, again, and showing you some of the beauty of Jerusalem here in the Holy Land. And it's really a pleasure. I hope that you will continue to spread light all around the world. And I am right here in what is possibly the palace of King David. Now, where I am is in the city of David. The city of David is going to be the place where you walk in, ladies and gentlemen, in the footsteps of King David, King Solomon, Hezekiah, Jeremiah. And this was all underground. And not too far from here, there's a parking lot. It's called the Givanti parking lot. And from 2007, it used to be a parking lot. In 2007, what they did is they started digging because they found here what is possibly the palace of King David. And therefore, they started digging over there and they found amazing things. And today it's not a parking lot, okay? It's a whole archaeological site, probably one of the biggest archaeological sites in all of Jerusalem. So it's really amazing, okay? So first, to give you a little bit of an introduction, my name is Shlomo Nash. I'm originally from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I take people around the world, showing them the beauty here in Jerusalem and all around the area, walking in the Holy Land. It's really amazing because so much, Joshua, as you know, so much of the Bible comes to life when you're here in the Holy Land, okay? As you can see right around here, okay? So now, what I'm telling you is this is believed to be possibly the palace of King David. Of course, it says in Kings, it says that when the king of Persia, or we call him Nebuchadnezzar, when he came to destroy the temple and destroy all the city of Jerusalem, everything went up in fire. So how do we believe this is actually the palace? Well, from 1948 to 1967, all of this area was under the Jordanian legions, and it was part of their territory, so to speak, that they had conquered. In 1967, right, the Jewish nation conquered it from them and took it back, and then they started digging. Before that time period, they didn't do any digging, and when they started digging, they found some amazing things. First of all of this area was filled in with rocks and stones and debris. And if you can imagine, today it's not all rocks, stones, and debris. It's actually whole archaeological excavations here. Okay. As you're going to see, I'm going to take you down further down this way. Okay. I don't know if you can see so well here, but but it was all filled in with rocks, stones, and debris from 1967 till 1967. In 1967, they started digging. And when they started digging, they started finding amazing things. First of all, the stones that you're looking at, these stones are dated to the time of King David. They're dated to the time of King David, King Solomon, Hezekiah, Jeremiah, from the first temple period. Okay, and that's why it's pretty amazing. Any archaeologists pretty in the world can tell you that these stones are dated to that time period, to the time of King David and King Solomon here. But also, okay, and they also found a very royal type of stone. If you can look over and I think you can see it in the back over there. Okay, it's a royal type of stone, so it gives the indication that it was a very, very significant place here. Also, it was a very important place because it's close to the Temple Mount, where the presence of God is believed to be. And but what's really amazing is they found here underground in excavations, they found little pieces of clay. So what's so significant, Joshua, about little pieces of clay? Well, we know from Kings, as I mentioned, when the king of Persia comes here and he destroys the temple, right, the first temple of King Solomon, and he destroys all of the area, all the houses of Jerusalem go up in fire, everything, right? So we know that there were different documents that were here. This is what it talks about in Jeremiah, right? There were many documents that people had, and they had like a little piece of paper, and they would have a little string around it, and then they would have a little piece of clay to seal it. It would like be the important official that would take his stamp and stamp it, and that would be an important document. Now, when the king of Persia comes here and everything goes up in fire, well, what is amazing is they found these little pieces of clay. In 1967, after 1967, they found little pieces of clay. They're called bulot, they bought them. And it's just amazing to know that there are names of people from the Bible that are written on these pieces of clay. They're in a museum here. But it's, for example, I'll just give you an example. If you look it up, you look into the Bible in the Old Testament, and you're going to look into the book of Jeremiah in the parak of the chapter. It's going to be 37. It's going to say the name Gamliel ben Shaphan. He was an important official to the king. He was an important official to the king in that time period. And he would be one of the people that would have stamped this document. And what did they find? They found his name on the seal, right? So it's amazing. I can take my Bible, open up to the book of Jeremiah, the chapter 37, and read it. And it says the name Gamliel ben Shaphan, who was an important scribe to the king of Yehoiakim in that time period, and in the time of Jeremiah. And it's amazing to know that they found this underground. Now, they just didn't find one of these seals. They found more than 50 of these seals. By Yigal Shiloh in 1978, he's going to find more than 50 of these seals that were found underground. So it's just amazing just to realize, right, that, possibly we're standing in the footsteps of King David. This was possibly his palace over here. Okay, I'm just going down the stairs, just letting you look at the area here. It says in Psalms, okay, I think I lost you. Okay. 1 second. Okay. We're still here live. Okay. It says in Psalms, okay, I'm just going down here. It says in Psalms, ladies and gentlemen, it says, Jerusalem is surrounded by mountains and valleys, and God will surround his nation. This is what it says in Psalms in 125, right? 125. I'm just going down the stairs here. You can see in the background, you can feel a little bit how Jerusalem is surrounded by the mountains and valleys. And it says God will surround his nation. This is in Psalms 125. Well, when you come here to the city of David, and you're walking in the footsteps of King David and King Solomon and Hezekiah and Jeremiah, as I mentioned earlier, you can also feel how Jerusalem is surrounded by mountains and valleys. Because over to the east is going to be the Kidron Valley. Okay, I'm going to show you very shortly. I'm just going down the stairs. I'm doing this backwards because I thought I could flip this so that I could show you, but I apparently can't. Okay, so, but it says Jerusalem is surrounded by the mountains and valleys. So I'm coming down here, these stairs, and you can just see to the east is going to be the Mount of Olives. Over the Mount of Olives, it's going to be also the valley of what's called the Kidron Valley, right? There are many, many special churches there, the Church of All Nations, right? And that's going to be over to the east, all of that area. And then to the south is going to be the Armona Netziv area. And to the west is going to be Mount Zion. And to the north is going to be the Temple Mount. And when you're looking, it's not exactly from this point, but what it says in Psalms, you can just really feel it when you're saying that Jerusalem is surrounded by mountains and valleys, and God will surround his nation. What we're looking at now is possibly the retaining wall to the palace of King David. Okay, this is the retaining wall to the palace of King David, going to the time before King David, to the time of the Canaanim, the Canaanites. When the Canaanites were here, ladies and gentlemen, this is dated, archaeologists don't know for sure, maybe from the 13th century before the Common Era, from the time even before, maybe before that, okay? And I'm just going down this area, and Once again, as I mentioned, what you're looking at, ladies and gentlemen, all of this was filled with rocks, stones, and debris at one point, right? From 1948 to 1967, all of this is under the Jordanian legions. They really didn't do any of the excavations. They didn't care about the excavations here. And I'm going to the area G. This is called the area G. When the British were here in 1917, apparently they gave this numbers and areas to this area. Okay, what we're looking at is the retaining wall to the palace of King David over here. Okay, and right in back of me, okay, there's a very interesting area. It's a house, possibly from the First Temple period. It's called Beit Achiel. How do we know it's called Beit Achiel, the house of Achiel? Well, ladies and gentlemen, they found a seal. Okay, remember I mentioned to you that in 1978, Yikav Shilo, one of the excavators here, he finds more than 50 seals in the area, which is very, very close to where I'm standing. It's called the Beit Abulot, right, in this area. He found more than 50 seals in this area and also in the area above, and from names of people from the Bible from the First Temple period. So I just find it amazing just to think that, I'm standing in the same place where so many of the Bible, of the stories that we learn about were happening. And this is in the city of David. Now, also over to my left, over to the right, there's a room here. It's called the Burnt Room. When they came here, after 1967, they started digging underground. They found that the room was filled with soot. It was filled with ashes. Now, we know from what I mentioned to you, what it says in Kings, that when the king of Nebuchadnezzar of Babel, okay, of the Persia, he comes here and destroys the temple and destroys all of the houses of Jerusalem, what it says in Kings. Well, when they came here underground, when they were digging, they found this room was filled with ashes. And they found that the fire possibly burned furniture that was from Syria. It's very interesting because this was probably a very elite area for the king. Okay. Now, right in back of me, it might be hard to see it, but there's a stone. There's a stone. There's a lot of sun here, so I'm just trying to see if I can show it to you a little bit better here. Okay. In back of me, there's a stone. Well, in the stone, there's a hole. Okay, there's a hole there. Okay, right next to what's called Beit Achiel, the house of Achiel. And they believe that this stone with this hole inside is possibly a bathroom. Maybe one of the first bathrooms in the world is right here in the city of David. Now, how do we know this? Okay, well, we made it up. No, they found underneath, they found theses to substantiate this. Meaning this were probably very, very important people that were living here next to the king. And this was an archive where people had brought very, very important documents. But when the king comes here from Babel and Persia, and he destroys everything, everything goes up in fire. But what they found were these bulots, were these seals with names of people from the Bible coming to life before your eyes. Can you imagine what it'll be like if I gave you a shovel, Joshua? You come here, you start digging. Who knows what you're going to find here underground? So that's why I find it amazing taking people here and showing them the beauty of Jerusalem here, of the Holy Land. Okay. So as I mentioned, we're continuing our trail here. Okay. I'm going to just show you this way. You can see how we're going. We're going down towards what's called the Gihon Spring. And we have to understand water is so important here. Water, you can't live without water. And the city of David has a spring here, a natural spring. And it's very, very special because you can see with your own eyes what it talks about in the Bible. It talks about in the Bible, and it says that in the time of, we're going back in the time of the 8th century, okay? And we're going back in the time when Hezekiah is going to be the king here, and Zechariah is going to be the enemy that wants to get to the water and wants to conquer the city of David. And he wants to get to the water. And he has already conquered 46 cities in the land of Israel. As you can see here, you're just looking at Silwan. I'm just making a brief side note because you're looking at Silwan. Here you're looking at the Mount of Olives, Silwan, very populated by the Arab communities. But some of the first people to come there were Jewish people from Yemenite people. They came in 1882, 1885. As you can see here, you're looking at Silwan. And once again, you can really feel what I'm telling you when I say that Jerusalem is surrounded by mountains and valleys, and God will surround his nation. Here you can see how it's surrounded by the mountains. The Mount of Olives we're looking at. And this is the Kidron Valley below us on the east. And if I could take you further, we'd look at the Armona Tziv area to the south. Okay, can't really see it from here. Okay, and Mount Zion and to the Temple Mount. So going back to what I was telling you, we're going down now towards the Gihon Spring. And the Gihon Spring is a natural spring. It's really, really pretty amazing because the water comes out from the ground. And what's amazing is it talks about in the Bible, as I mentioned, how Hezekiah doesn't want to let the enemy, the Assyrian enemy, the Sennacherib, to get to the water. And what does he do? He diverts the water into the city by building a tunnel of 533 meters, let's say about 1,700 feet, underground. One group coming from one side, one group coming from the other side, and miraculously, they're meeting in the middle. So if you look over here, you can see this picture over here. You can see approximately where we are. It's right over in this area, okay? And we're going to be going down towards, okay, we're going to be going down towards the Gihon Spring. And I was mentioning that you have one group coming. This is how the water used to flow. It's called the Canaanite Dry Channel. And it's amazing. You go underground and you're walking in the footsteps of history. This is how the water used to flow. But in the time of Hezekiah, right, we're talking about maybe about 2,600 years ago. So Sennacherib wants to get to the water. So if it would continue to flow this way, then he would see the water and he'd be able to get into the city. So what does he do, Hezekiah? He has one group of his people digging through the mountain, through this area, one from the other area. Miraculously, the two groups meet together, which is amazing how they did this. And all of the water from the Gihon Spring is going to flow all over into the Siloam pool. Okay? And what's amazing is you can see this with your own eyes. Right? You see this with your own eyes when you're going through, to go through there. Okay? So that's why I just find it so amazing. So we're just going to continue. I'm going, a little further. We're going now towards the Siloam pool. Okay, I just want to show you. Okay, if you can be following me here. We're going through some of the city of David. Now, in the city of David, there are Jewish people living together with Arabs, and they get along fine. They get along together. And it's so sad when you hear about the terrible animosities, but people here get along together. Now, they do have security, but there's really people to get along together. Okay, so you can see here, we're going down in the city of David. Okay, you can just see, again, looking at Silwan. Very, very populated by the Arabs over here. Okay, I'm going to be taking you shortly. You're going to be able to see what's called Armona Tziv area, and you can really feel what we're talking about when we say that how Jerusalem is surrounded by the mountains and valleys, and how God surrounds His nation. You can just see a very beautiful view. Look Once again, you're looking at, this is Silwan, the Kidron Valley, the Mount of Olives. You can see the church, Russian Orthodox Church in the background. Very, very beautiful area. Looking at this whole area from the distance, you can see what's called the Armona Netziv area. Okay, so we're making our way down now to the what's called the Silouan Pool. Okay, the Silouan Pool area is going to be where all of the water comes to. And this is how Hezekiah is going to divert the water into the city, because he doesn't want to let Sennacherib, the Assyrian enemy, get to the water, and therefore he's going to divert it. And that's the tunnel. And if you come here in the summer, it's really, really a lot of fun. You go through this water channel. It takes about a half an hour. Joshua, we got to get you to come here. Okay. And, but it's amazing because you're walking in the footsteps of the Bible when you're doing this. Many of the kids are going here having a good time. But just to realize that, this is walking in the footsteps of the Bible. Here you can just see another beautiful view over here. And what you're looking at over here, right below me, is possibly where the tomb of King David is. Now we know, it says in the Bible, it says that King David is buried with his fathers in the city of David. But according to the Ministry of Tourism here in Israel, they believe it's on Mount Zion. And Mount Zion, maybe that was part of the city of David. So there's a disagreement. We really don't know for sure. But apparently there was an excavator, Raymond Weil. He came here and he was, there was a Baron Rothschild. He gave a lot of funding to find the tombs of King David in the city of David. And possibly it was found here. So it could be possibly here. There are reasons to believe that it could be here, because it says in one of the sources in Nehemiah, it says that the tomb of King David is close to the pool. Well, that's where the pool was, the pool of Silouan. Okay, the Silouan pool, and so therefore it could be a good reason to say that it is over here. However, according to the Ministry of Tourism, as I mentioned, that they believe that it is in Mount Zion, which is not in this area. So this is possibly, right over here. This is possibly was a quarry as well. It's interesting, when Jerusalem, changed its name, once the temple was destroyed, and the emperor here was Hadrian, and the Roman emperor, after the Romans are going to be here for about 300 years, and then the Byzantines. And during that time period, when Hadrian's going to be here, he changes the name of Jerusalem to Iliocapitolina instead of Jerusalem. And in the place where the temple once stood, he puts in a temple of Jupiter. But why am I mentioning that here? Because here they had a quarry, and some of the stones from the city were quarried out from this area, as you can see. They were quarried out from this area to build some of their roads. For example, one of the roads is a Cardo. The Romans, when they came to their cities, ladies and gentlemen, they built Cardos, which are streets running from north to south. In almost all their cities, they would build Cardos, roads running from north to south, and also Decamonuses, streets running from east to west. And you can see this in so many of their cities. So also, over here in Jerusalem, we have a Cardo. Not only in Jerusalem, you can see this also if you come here in the Holy Land, you come to Beit Shan area, you'll see a Cardo. If you go to another area in the Holy Land in the Upper Galilee, in Sipori, you'll see a Cardo. If you go to Rome, you'll see a Cardo, because this is what the Romans did. When they came to their cities, they built streets, what are called Cardos, running from north to south, and Decamanus from east to west. And they took the stones from that area I just showed you, from a quarry, and they built a lot of their streets from there. So it's amazing. Here we're just continuing. We're not going to see the spring today, but I'm going to take you down to the Silouan pool area, which is really pretty amazing to see. So as you can see here, we're going down, continuing to go down here in the city of David. And you can feel once again, as I'm coming over here, you can see the Armona Netziv area that I was mentioning. To the south, here. So once again, you can feel what you're saying when you say in Psalms, right? The Jerusalem is surrounded by mountains and valleys, and God will surround his nation. And that's why it's so amazing, because when you come here to Jerusalem, to the Holy Land, you can be walking in the footsteps of the Bible, of really, seeing so much of the Bible. What we're looking below us is going to be the what's called the Shilach. There's a pool here. I'm going to continue going down here. So I'm just going to continue following with me as we are trailing down, going down to the Silouan pool. And this is a pool. It was discovered in 2004. Amazing, 2004. How did they discover it? Almost by chance. But of course, nothing is by chance. 2004, they had a problem with the sewer system. I'm going to show you very shortly. They had a problem with the sewer system. So they needed to bring in the tractors to try and figure out what the problem was with the sewer system. So in 2004, they started digging and digging. And once they started digging with the tractors, they hit stone. When they hit the stone, ladies and gentlemen, they stopped everything. They brought in the excavators, and they realized that they found the pool from the time of the Second Temple period. This is going to be a pool from the time of King Herod. It says about King Herod that it says if a person didn't see the temple, this is the second temple, in the time of King Herod, he didn't see a beautiful building in one's lifetime. It was the most beautiful building one ever saw. And he also built all kinds of towers and structures all around the country, all around the area. And he also built in the city of David, he also built all kinds of a pool area. Okay, as you can see over here, okay, I'm showing you, this is the Silouan area. Okay, this is the, right now you're looking at the Shiloh, the Silouan pool. And this is being excavated before our very eyes, and that's why it's really, really amazing. This goes back to 2004. In 2004, all of this area was underground. It was all underground. They started digging because they had a problem with the sewer system over in that area over there. Further down, they started digging and digging, and they found what is believed to be a pool. A pool from the time of the Second Temple period. You can see with your own eyes. It's very, very beautiful. Just to realize there's some type of a pool from the Second Temple period where people come here to bathe. See many of the tourists coming here. And this is being excavated right now before our very eyes. Now, possibly even under this pool is possibly another pool. So we are continuing here. This is, again, just remind you, in 2004, this is when they're going to discover this. And so you can see just all kinds of openings. And this is going to be where the water from the Gihon spring is going to be coming here. This is all part of this pool. Possibly it was a very, very big pool over here. Many of the questions we don't have the answers to at this point. But I'm continuing here. Now we know from different Jewish sources, we know that they were taking water from the Siloam pool and they were bringing it up to the Temple Mount. And they were taking the water and pouring it on the ark, okay, on what's called the Mizbeach, on the altar. And it's amazing because what you're looking at is these stones, right? All of this, where I'm standing is the area where they had a problem with the sewer system. And as I mentioned, in 2004, they started digging. All of this area, they start digging and digging, as you're seeing before me right now. And then they discover something amazing. So, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to come into my office. Okay, this is pretty amazing because there's a lot of noise here. I'm trying to get away from the noise. Okay, but this is a street. Now, this street is going to be the way that pilgrims are going to be going, as it says in the Bible, from the time of Passover and Pentecost, and they're going to be coming, and they're going to be walking up these stairs, going to the Temple Mount. Now, how do we know this? First of all, these stairs, almost all of what I'm walking on is right now all original. And just thinking that these stairs, now it's not even totally open to the public yet. It's only open in the area where I'm walking right now. This is open to the public. But so much of what we're looking at is not open to the public. And it goes all the way up to the Temple Mount. So I'm going to just show you a picture here. As you're looking over here. Now, we don't know definitively this is what it is, but we do believe that this is possibly what was here. As you can see, the pool that we were just speaking about just a few minutes ago, that they discovered in 2004. Before that time period, they didn't even know there was a pool here. It was all filled in with rocks, stones, and debris, okay? Jerusalem is like a 7-layer cake. One level on top of another level on top of another level. So as you can see the pool, and they discovered further, and they find the road. Now, one of the roads is going to go all the way up towards what's called the Robinson Arch and the Southern Excavations. As you're looking up here, this is going to be, of course, the Temple Mount and the Dome of the Rock, right? And the Al-Aqsa Mosque. So as you can see, for the Muslim nation, this is going to be the third holiest site, Al-Aqsa Mosque, the farthest mosque. According to the Muslim tradition, this is where they believe that this is the farthest mosque where Muhammad comes, and he comes to Al-Aqsa, the third holiest site, and ascends to heaven from here, from the Dome of the Rock. According to the Jewish tradition, the Jewish understanding, this is the Dome of the Rock, the beginning of the world. The beginning of the world is right over here. It's going to be the first place, the same place where the, what's called the Akedat Yitzchak, where the, as we know in the Bible, where God asked Abraham to bring Isaac as a sacrifice. It's going to be happening right over here. And the place, same place where the first temple was built by Solomon and destroyed, and then later by Ezra Nehemiah and King Herod and destroyed, and then what you're seeing today. So it's just pretty amazing. This is going to be the Western Wall. Okay, when you're looking at the Western Wall, ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at a small portion. It's only about maybe 60 meters of 488 meters. So you consider yourself, where is all of the Western Wall? If that's the case, well, it's all camouflaged by the houses of the Muslims. When they came here about 700 years ago, okay, 700 years ago when they came here.
Oh, be careful, man.
Okay, thank you. Okay, when they came here about 700 years. Okay. Okay, I'll just show you inside here. This is not
one guy belongs to us behind.
Okay, great. Okay, some gentlemen are going in through this door that we are not allowed to go in, but I'm just giving you a peek inside so you can just look. Okay, you can just see inside. You see this is ongoing excavations, but so right over here. Okay. Okay, and this is what's called the southern excavations in the southern wall to the Temple Mount. Here, there's going to be the eastern wall and the northern wall, and the southern excavations. Now, on the southern wall, there's an area called the Huldah Stairs. The Huldah Stairs, ladies and gentlemen, that was the major entranceway to go in the temple. Okay, right over here, this is the area where it was the major entranceway to go in the temple. There's something called the Huldah Stairs, the triple gates and the double gates, and you can see this with your own eyes if you come on Shlomo's Adventures. I don't give tours, Joshua, I give adventures. But if you come on Shlomo's Adventures, you will see walking on the original stairs going into the Temple Mount. It's said about Neil Armstrong. Everybody knows Neil Armstrong, the first person that put his foot on the moon. Well, when he put his feet and his one foot on the Huldah Stairs, it said about him that was more significant to him than putting his foot on the moon. Of course, it was significant and important for him to put his foot on the, on the moon. But it was even more significant to put his feet on the Huldah Stairs. Okay, so that's just pretty amazing. That was the entranceway, the major entranceway to go in the temple. Now, how does this continue? How does this connect with what I'm telling you? Because this pool over here also has a road, and I'm standing on it right now, that goes all the way up towards the Huldah Stairs. How do we know this? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm walking on this street till about here, okay? And you can see this door right over here. This is the door that tells you can't go any further, right? But they have already excavated underground all the way up towards the Huldah Stairs, meaning all of it you're looking at below us is also found after this door. This was a major street where our pilgrims were coming on all of the festivals coming up to the temple. And that's why it's so amazing to realize that you're walking in the footsteps of our history when you come here to Jerusalem, to the Holy Land, okay? As you can see depicted over here. So we have one road that would have went all the way up towards what's called the Robinson's Arch and the southern excavations and right next to the western wall here. And the other road would go all the way up towards the Huldah Stairs, all the way up to the Temple Mount. So it's pretty amazing. Okay, I'm going to show you the other side of this road. So just bear with me as we're going down. Okay, and these stones are all dated to the Second Temple period. Now, there's something very interesting also, Joshua, over here on my left. There's like a channel. Okay, I'm going to show it to you very shortly. You can see here. It was a channel. So what's special about this channel right next to the road? Well, it's a channel. This is a channel where they believe that people were hiding. Well, who was hiding here? Well, apparently, what Josephus Flavius tells us is that Jewish people were hiding from the Romans. The Romans had intention to kill and to eliminate the Jewish nation, and they were hiding out in these tunnels. Now, how do we know this? Well, in excavations, as you can see here, they found cooking pots. Cooking pots with residue of food apparently was found here, and minted coins. So there's a good indication that people were actually hiding out from the Romans here that wanted to try and eliminate the Jewish nation. You can see part of my office. I'm just joking, of course. It's not my office. This is to give you an idea of coming here. You're going to come and you're going to buy in the store. You're going to buy your animal for a sacrifice. You're going to buy some food. And then you have to realize thousands and thousands, maybe millions of people are coming here, going up towards the Temple Mount. As you can see here, once again, with this pool, and just realizing you're going all the way up towards the Temple Mount area. Okay, we're continuing here. I'm going to show you the other side of the street. Okay, here you can see some of the water of the Gihon spring just below us. It's very interesting. Here you can see there's water dripping through the stones. And you can say to yourself, well, it's not raining here in Jerusalem. Why is there water dripping through the stones? Well, most of the stones here are limestone. And limestone is very, very porous. It's very porous. It's like a sponge. So all of the water goes through the limestone. And that's why you can see many times from here in Jerusalem, you can see a lot of caves and a lot of crevices, because this is going to be where the water, even it could be water from 6 months ago or 8 months ago, it just seeps through the limestone because the limestone is very porous. So here we're looking at, in the time of the temple, to get an idea of people going and coming and going up to the Temple Mount. And this is the other side of these stairs. So just amazing to think that you're walking in the footsteps of our ancestors. Okay, so I'm just going back here. I'm just going to conclude. I'm going to want to show you where the water comes to. It's called the Siloam Pool. This is where, when you come through the Gihon Spring, the Gihon Spring is a natural spring where the waters constantly are coming out. And it's called Gihon because the water is pulsating. It comes out constantly. And that's why they anointed the kings here. As it says, that's another amazing thing. You can be stepping in the same place where Solomon is going to be anointed to be king. Because it says in Samuel 2, it says that King David is going to be an older king, and he needs to have one of his sons to continue his kingship. Now, he had an older son, Adoniah. He thought he was going to be the king. But unfortunately, King David said, no, Solomon is going to be the king. I'm very lucky. My name is Shlomo. It's like Solomon. Okay, so he said he's going to be the king of Israel. And you know how old Solomon is going to be when he's king of all of Israel, right? He's going to be 12 years old. Okay, so 12 years old is going to be when he is going to be the king of Israel. Okay, there's a lot of noise here. But you see here, okay, there's too much noise over there, but I think we could be able to see the Siloam Pool. And that's where the water comes to when you go through the channel that Hezekiah is going to divert the water, because, as I mentioned earlier, he doesn't want to let the Syrian enemy get to the water, so he diverts it. Well, that's where the water comes to. Here you can see, when I see over here. So we're just going down. Going down here. Okay, and just I'll take you again. I'm trying to get you to a place where it's a little bit quieter. So, excuse me. Back on the street. Again, this is the street. And you can see some of the stones are broken. Some of the stones are broken, possibly because the Romans are trying to find the Jewish people here and to eliminate them. So I hope that I was able to show you Joshua and your guests from all over the world. I hope I was able to show you just a little bit of the beauty of the Holy Land of Jerusalem. And if you'd like to come on an adventure with Shlomo's Adventures, you get in contact with me. strive for excellence global.com. And we'd love to have you come to visit, to be with us here in the Holy Land. So I don't know, Joshua, can you hear me? Okay, so I think I'm still live, but I'll just conclude with, it says, ladies and gentlemen, it says that there were 10 pieces of beauty that came into the world. And it says that Jerusalem took 9, okay, and gave 1 to the rest of the world. I'm sure there's beauty all over the world. There's beauty in Switzerland, and there's beauty in Africa, where you are, and I'm originally from Minnesota. And there's beauty all over the world. But Jerusalem has a special, special beauty. And as we know, it's holy for so many people all around the world, millions of people. And it's just so special to be able to be walking, in the footsteps of the Bible. So I hope I was able to show you just a little bit of the beauty of Jerusalem. And if you'd like to come, as I mentioned earlier, on an adventure, okay, with Shlomo, please get in contact with me. And Joshua, it was a pleasure to spend time with you. I'm going to say goodbye from Jerusalem, as we say. Shalom. And have a wonderful day now. So, bye. And until we meet again, have a wonderful day.